Everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. And I tell you what, Mike Phelan's been given a new contract. This is news coming out in the last hour. We're also going to be talking about Cristiano Ronaldo heaping pressure onto Solskjaer. I don't know whether you saw the comments of Gary Neville over the weekend where he basically said that Cristiano Ronaldo walking off the pitch, not very happy. That just heaps more pressure onto Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which I think is very interesting, and that's one of the dynamics I wanted to talk about the show tonight, about how Ronaldo, his mood is going to be very much similar to your mood, really. You know, he wants to win titles, and, you know, losing to Villa, drawing to Everton, these are the sort of results that have become sort of consistent over the last 8 years, but they're not going to be what Cristiano Ronaldo wanted. Ronaldo didn't want this at Juventus. He's certainly not going to want, swapping one underperforming club to another one. So it's very interesting. But also, so is very interesting the Mike Phelan contract. Got some very strong opinions on that, as I'm sure many of you have got to as well. Yes, Ronaldo heaps pressure on Solskjaer, according to Gary Neville. We'll have a look at that as well. But first in, first out, let's just say, top right-hand corner, it's my favourite integration. It's my favourite sponsor. Well, I like them all really, but we always have a bit of a laugh with this. The champions of below the waist grooming are here to save your balls, basically. You heard that right. Manscaped, the best of the best and world champions of men grooming, are here so you can stay clean and take care of yourself where it matters most. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide, including me. I am a man. Join the movement with our exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you click the link in the description. What do we say? Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. So what's so great about the new Lawnmower 4.0? Well, it's got a new multifunctional on and off switch, plus a travel lock created for people who like to travel, the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precision shave. The new trimmer also allows you to customise your trim all over, so you can have different lengths if you want to. It's sleek with a two-toned matte and gloss finish, even featuring a hot foil stamped black chrome Manscaped logo, which is very fancy. I've turned it on again. Why has everyone done it there? And of course, its wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Very fancy. Alongside the new Lawnmower 4.0, you can also get other products like from their performance package, the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, also obviously the Lawnmower 4.0, the Crop Reviver, very comfy boxer shorts, and a travel bag, of which I have. I also have the Weed Whacker, which I like to do live on air because it does need a trim. I was at a wedding yesterday, and I said to somebody, you need a weed whacker. And they said, I'll whack you in a minute. What are you talking about? I go down the gym. I said, I'm not talking about your arms. I'm talking about Epping Forest that's coming out your nose, mate. You need to trim it. A few seconds with that, you'll be breathing easier. Because Manscaped care about everyone that watches the United Stand, they are giving you a huge 20% off. Plus free shipping when you click the link in the channel description. So what are you waiting for? Head over to manscaped.com, click the link in the description, trim your grass to make your yard look bigger. Manscaped, for all you men. I mean, look, it is basically aimed at men. I imagine women have their own sort of products, but well done if you do, and if you're trimming, you're winning. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Look, I tell you what, Manchester United aren't trimming their squad. They're going for it. They've handed out a new contract. Mike Phelan. I want to talk about Ronaldo, and I want to talk about what Gary Neville said about Ronaldo heaping pressure on Ronaldo with the way on Ollie with the way he walked off the pitch. I mean, I don't know whether I agree with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's just say this. Mike Phelan has been handed a new contract. Let's read what Fabrizio Romano said. Obviously, brilliant video this afternoon with Fabrizio Romano on the channel. Not talking about this, but talking about other stuff. I've got to be honest, I knew about this. When did I film with Paul Ince? Was it last Tuesday? I knew last Tuesday Mike Phelan was getting a new contract. But obviously, you don't want to disclose, you don't want to put that out early because people will know that you've leaked it. But Solskjaer assistant manager Mike Phelan has extended his contract until 2024 with Manchester United. Another message from the club and board that they're backing the manager and his staff. And look, I think the timing of this will annoy people. We've had a really unsatisfactory start to the season. 14 points from 21, 1 point from 6 at home to Aston Villa and Everton. To go into an international break and decide now is the time to announce Mike Phelan's new contract is a big boost of faith for Solskjaer and his team. And look, I don't know whether many of you understand this. We've spoken about it many times before. Welcome to the Members Club, Prabhu and Samuel Jones, by the way. Big up for supporting the channel and becoming a member. You get your little badge next to your name. What's your prediction of what's going to happen in the run into Christmas, says Joshua Bowler? We've got a very tough run of games coming. Can we come back to that one, Joshua? Because I think it's a good question and I do want to get into some of the chat. But look, I've said this many times before, and I don't know whether you all understand this, but this is categorically true. Manchester United, when they appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they didn't appoint Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They appointed a team of managers, and that team was basic. The story was this. Mourinho left, United were like, just before Christmas, the manager they wanted wasn't available till the summer, Pochettino, and they needed somebody to come in and do an interim job. Solskjaer, Mulder. The reason they went for Solskjaer was basically because they were loaning him from Mulder with the intention of him always going to go back. Solskjaer came in, but they were like, well, Solskjaer on his own, it's a big job. I know, let's use Michael Carrick, who was the assistant with Mourinho. Let's promote McKenna from the youth setup, and let's bring Mike Phelan back, who's out of work at the moment, just to be the experienced head. And they sort of created this interim team to just see United through to the end of the season. What happened is, we all started singing a song about a bus, and basically he got a new contract, and we all agreed with it. But it was never Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Carrick, is Phelan, and is McKenna. They're all in it together. When we talk about he needs to change his coaching setup, yes he does, he'll never do it. Because if Solskjaer sacked McKenna and Carrick would let it be known that, you know, all the issues that have gone on. They all know the issues, they're all in it together, and they're all going to stay together. So we better bloody hope that it works, because there's not going to be a changing of Solskjaer and coaches. They're all together. So when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got his new contract in the summer until 2024, Mike Phelan was always going to get a contract till 2024 because they're a management team. I don't begrudge Mike Phelan getting that contract because Ole got the contract. Why shouldn't he get the contract? He's a part of it as much as Ole is. The issue is obviously going to be the timing. People are going to say, why are we handing a contract out to somebody when we're not doing very well? People are even talking about changing the manager, and the board are giving out that. I agree. I agree from a publicity point of view, from a marketing point of view, from a club message point of view. It's ill-conceived and it's ill-timed. But the reality is Mike Phelan's probably been working on that contract with his agent and United for a considerable period of time, and it was always needed to be announced. United have got Ronaldo, they've got the money, they've backed Solskjaer, they probably just don't care, let's put it out there. I don't blame Mike Phelan for getting a contract. The reality is Solskjaer's got one, so why shouldn't he? But the timing of it probably isn't the best because people are questioning the coaching. And look, ultimately, I like Mike Phelan, I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I hope they are successful. I don't believe they will be, but I hope they are. It's nothing personal, but I think at the moment we can all agree there is a massive question mark above the coaching at this football club. That's not a leap of faith to say that. That's not creating division. That's not being, inflammatory. I'll sit down and have a chat with any United fan, any pundit, any journalist, any rival fan. We will all come to a common ground very, very quickly that there's huge question marks about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his coaching staff. I mean, look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to come up with that prediction. A penny for Sir Alex Ferguson's thoughts. I mean, he probably just thinks, well, at the end of the day, they're building something. It took me some time. But the reality is, I remember Sir Alex Ferguson building something, and the football was way better than this. It's dreadful. He's got some of the best players in the world, and the football is dreadful. Therefore, you've got to look at the coaching. So, look, Mike Phelan getting a new contract, actually, I'm not bitter. Well done. I applaud him for it. Ole got one, so why shouldn't he? They're all part of the same team. The timing of it is not the best because this is a time where people are thinking, is he going to be the manager for long? Welcome to Members Club, Akil. And also, what I would say is we can all get angry and we can all react. You lose a game, you get angry. A few days later, you might not be as angry, you're still angry. I mean, if people are getting angry that we've handed a new contract to Mike Phelan, just think it through for a moment. What do you want to happen? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs Mike Phelan and he needs Michael Carrick and he needs McKenna. He needs them. They're part of him. Ole got the contract. These lot were always going to get the contract as well. So, it's sort of like when you think it through, it's not as dramatic as you think. All it does is just expose the fact that maybe this coaching staff isn't right. But Phelan getting a new contract, you can't begrudge that because he's part of Ollie's team. And Ollie's just signed a new contract. So it's logical. The timing of it is probably going to irritate, though. Phelan till 2024 means our hopes for 21st are all shifted to the 2024. Also, post-October, we will know whether we should be Ollie out for not due to fixtures, says Aditya. Jose and Van Gaal were backed publicly by the board as well, not too long after the sack, says Red Baron. And it's so sad we cannot watch United play attractive football. I watch Ajax play and God, I enjoy the game over United's. Why can't that be us, says Tariq. And we assume Pogba will be back in mid with Rashford back, but Ollie hasn't shied away from dropping Rayson and starting McFred with Rashford right and Pogba in the left before. Thoughts on this possibility, says Kuresh. Well, I think as we move through the international break, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what we do with Marcus Rashford. But, you know, just going back to that previous point there, I mean, I don't want to give everything away that I spoke to Romano about because it's a very good video and you should check it out if you missed it this afternoon. But we did talk about Conte and we did talk about Zidane, and the reality is that one of those, maybe two of those, are going to be free waiting till a job next summer. You know, people are talking about the next month being critical for Ollie and he might be sacked by Christmas. Is that realistic, really? You know, is it realistic? Moyes made it till March. Van Gaal made it to the end of the season. Mourinho went before Christmas, but that was a very particular set of circumstances. We were falling apart. Like, the players had down tools. We were miles off top four, and the club acted. I don't think with this squad we're going to be miles off top four. I don't think with this squad we're going to be out of the Champions League. So I don't think Solskjaer going before Christmas is actually realistic. I think if you're looking for a new manager, then maybe next summer, but I do not see it happening this season. I think it will be a long goodbye if it's going to be a goodbye. I mean, I still harbour hope that we you know, I mean, ultimately I feel stupid saying this. I still harbour hope that we're going to actually be very competitive. But, you know, how ridiculous does that sound? Oh, Goldbridge is harbouring hope that United are going to be decent. Look at the bloody starting team. David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Rafa Varane, Luke Shaw. Could be Matic and Pogba, Ronaldo, Bruno, Rashford and Sancho. I mean, why are we harbouring hope? I tell you why we're harbouring hope. Because that team's bloody brilliant on paper. It's the coaching that worries us. Ollie gets praise for the rebuild. However, the players leaving at the end of the season are as follows: Pogba, Van der Beek, Matic, Lingard, Martial, Cavani. This is Scott Keller. Well, I don't think all of those will go, but some of them will. The players should ignore the coaching and play how they like, says Mark. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, actually. I never wanted to punch someone more in the face when I saw Ollie laughing near the end of Everton game, says Rohit. Well, we don't condone violence on this channel, so I understand frustration, but we don't condone violence on this channel. So let's talk about... I wanted to bring this into the show tonight, and this is obviously the headline of the show. Ronaldo heaps pressure onto Solskjaer. This is very interesting because I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, and I'll tell you for why in a minute. But I want to get into the chat. We've not really had a Q&A chat for a long time, so tonight we're going to do it because there's no preview, it's international break. So there's lots of things we can talk about, and there's lots of sort of shows we can do over the international break. So really looking forward to it. So make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Got some really good content coming up for you over the next sort of week. But I do want to get into your questions, but I do want to bring this in because I think really interesting that a lot of people sort of picked up on Ronaldo, that he was not happy when he came off the pitch, and Gary Neville sort of put it best, really. He said, look, of course, you know, Ronaldo is not going to be happy when he doesn't score. He's not going to be happy when Man United doesn't win, and he's not going to be happy when he doesn't start. But what he also said is that Ronaldo walking off the pitch, chuntering to himself, not happy, doesn't do Ollie any favours. It heaps the pressure on Ollie. And basically his words were something along the lines, Solskjaer's under immense pressure now because of the way Ronaldo walked off that pitch. Hence, Ronaldo heaps pressure on Solskjaer. But, you know, some people think that's not the case, some people think it is. But the reality is, of course it is. We said with Ronaldo when we bought him that basically, not only is he one of the greatest footballers ever, not only did he make us all very, very happy coming back, but he's us. Ronaldo is us, because that doesn't mean that he's us. You know, he didn't play for United for a long time. He went away from. He wanted to leave United to go to Madrid. You know, we all know that. But he's come back. And the thing about Ronaldo is, why he's intertwined with United fans is not because he, you know, stayed at United all his career. He left us. He loves us, but he left us. But why Ronaldo is so important is because he's probably the only player in the world who's like this. I mean, yeah, there are others, but definitively, Ronaldo's career wipes the floor with Messi's, in the sense that Messi's done it all with Barcelona, whereas Ronaldo's done it with Manchester United, Real Madrid, Juventus. He's a serial winner, and he goes to places and win, and he doesn't go to places and accept anything else. And Messi's a serial winner as well, but what I'm saying is Messi did it all at one club, apart from now. We're losing a year of Ronaldo if we wait to sack Oli, says Akil. Well, this is the interesting thing, because with Ronaldo, he is us because we want to win titles. We want Ronaldo to win the Ballon d'Or, and we want to win the Champions League, and we want Ronaldo to win the Golden Boot. We are in the we have the same mentality as Ronaldo. Ronaldo is a striker. For Ronaldo to score and win Golden Boots and Ballon d'Ors, we need to score a lot of goals. If we score a lot of goals, we get entertained and we get attractive football. If Ronaldo scores a lot of goals, we win games. If we win games, we get into title races and we go deep into the Champions League. Ronaldo is obsessed with this. Ronaldo is not going to want to waste his time at Manchester United, on scraps. So it's really, really interesting when someone like Gary Neville says that, he's putting on Solskjaer under immense pressure, because I don't mind if he is. I really couldn't give a shit if he is putting him under pressure, because that's what we want. For the first time, I love Bruno, I love Rashford, I love Luke Shaw, I love David De Gea. I think they're all really, really important players for us. But Cristiano Ronaldo is on a different level. He is absolutely going to have the eyes of the world on him at Manchester United. But for a United fan like myself, and I'm sure many of you agree as well, my eyes are on him all the time, because I'm like, he basically embodies the United support. We don't want this anymore. We're running out of time. Well, Ronaldo's 36. He's here for 2 years, so he hasn't got any time to waste either. We're both impatient. We both demand that we win, and we're both not very happy when we're not winning. We're not part of a project. We're not here to be in the right direction, FC, and we're not here for fine margins. We're here to be the best. Us and Ronaldo. And I think that was the brilliance of Ronaldo coming back to the club, because we're going to be intertwined. So when he walks off the pitch and Gary says, well, he's putting immense pressure on Solskjaer. And I don't know whether he thinks that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think he said either way. I do think it's a good thing. But I also don't think it's a headline. I just think it's the pressure that should be on the manager. I think Ronaldo walking off the pitch not happy shouldn't be queried by anybody. If any United fans going, I wish he hadn't done that wasn't very helpful. Well, I don't get it. I want to see United players walking off the pitch when they put in a poor performance, not happy. I want to see that at the final whistle. I think during the game, that sort of petulance we've seen it with Bruno, isn't necessarily helpful. But after the game, I want to see that. What I don't want to see is, let's go again, we go again, we fight again, because that's just weak. I want to see Ronaldo walking off, and I want to think that Ronaldo's going, what the bloody hell have I done coming back here? I thought this club was going places. What's happened? So I embrace this, and I think we should embrace this as a fan base, that Cristiano Ronaldo is basically the epitome of the fans. If Sir Alex Ferguson had Roy Keane on the pitch, and Roy Keane was basically Sir Alex Ferguson on the pitch, I think with Cristiano Ronaldo, he basically represents the fans, because he is impatient and he does want to win. So I welcome this. I welcome the fact that Ronaldo isn't happy, if that is the case, and I welcome the fact that he's putting pressure onto Solskjaer, because nobody else has over the last 2 years. We've been talking about McTominay and Fred and crap football for a couple of years now. Maybe with Ronaldo in that team, things can change. For me, Laurent Blanc is the perfect man, says Desiree. I mean, I always quite liked Laurent Blanc as a coach. I thought he did a great job at Bordeaux. I think I like his style of football. He's obviously played for Manchester United, but I don't think he's had a job in a long time, and I don't think United would go anywhere near him. Looking forward to seeing the Rashford and Ronaldo combination when he's back. Could be the only thing that saves Ollie, says NMCC. Look, I'm going to do a show on Rashford a little bit later in the week. 100% correct, Mark, says Mark Holder. I think Marcus Rashford's a really interesting one. He's fully fit for the first time in 18 months. He's a very, very good footballer, and he's very direct. And for me, it's going to be really interesting. I would never be stupid enough, because I know there are people out there that don't rate Rashford. I do. I'd be never be stupid enough to say Rashford coming back is going to be our saviour. He can be an improver, but let's not forget, Marcus Rashford doesn't get many assists. you don't think about Rashford and assists, and Ronaldo needs service. So if you play Greenwood off the right and Rashford off the left, who's providing the service to Ronaldo? Or Cavani? So Rashford is going to have to be a team player. We need team players, and also he's going to need to get the ball. The improvements in set pieces is proof enough for Ollie to try and get more coaches, says Eritro. Yeah, I know, I do agree with you on that, Eritro, but what I'm saying is this isn't like the situation that Sir Alex Ferguson had, where he was the manager and he kept changing his assistant coach. Solskjaer is the manager in name, and he is the guy who does the press conferences. But what I'm telling you is, and I know this for a fact, and most of you will know as well, this is not the same as a normal manager. Solskjaer is the manager, but the relationship with Carrick and Phelan and McKenna is they're on a much more of a level playing field than you think. Solskjaer is the manager, but he's never going to get rid of any of those three. Never. Hi Mark, I look forward to watching United stand now more than United playing. Extremely bummed to wake up at 5:30 on Saturday to another burgled performance, all thanks to Ollie's team selection, says Richard. And I think Ronaldo sees himself as a GOAT like Tom Brady or LeBron James, where they go, titles follow, but the top brass needs to give them the tools, says Ethan. Yeah, and I think just, before we move on, I think in relation to Ronaldo, you're absolutely spot on. The Tom Brady signing that the Glazers actually made for their American football team led to the Super Bowl. With Cristiano Ronaldo, I remember people saying this in January, why can't we go and get Ronaldo? They did that. Well, they have got Ronaldo. The problem is, have we got, we've got the players that we could win a Premier League like Tampa won the Super Bowl. We could. We've got the Tom Brady sort of person in Ronaldo. We could do that, but do we have the coaching? Already this season, the answer to that question is probably not. We should have more points than 14 from 21 based on the teams that we've played. And let's not forget, we've played 4 games at home, and we've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1, and yet we've played Leeds, Newcastle, Everton and Villa at home. When will Rashi be back in the team, says Ollie. I think he'll be on the bench for the Leicester game if he doesn't start. Ollie already lost the dressing room. It's not getting much traction like Jose era because the players, no fans actually like Ollie. I don't think he has lost the dressing room, T, and I think I would know, and a lot of people would know if he'd lost the dressing room. I don't think he has lost the dressing room. I think there are question marks, but I don't think he's lost the dressing room. And I do think that the players will come back from the international break very focused, but very aware that these next set of games, certainly the Leicester, Liverpool, Spurs, Man City 12 points, those 12 points, the players will come back very focused. I mean, look, Rashford's very hungry. Sancho's hungry to succeed. And people like Pogba, Ronaldo, Bruno, De Gea, Varane. I mean, look at the players we've got. They're not going to come back downing tools. They're going to come back knowing that what they signed up for is what they want. Ronaldo signed for Ollie to come back to Manchester United. He wants to succeed. It's not down tools time. They're not at that point. I'd be lying if I said I don't think that they are thinking, what's going on here? But we're not at that point yet. If we came back and won all 4 of those games, the buzz would be back. They need to try and get that buzz back. I think I'm not going to talk about Leicester. It's a little bit too early. But we've been in this situation before. We have been in this situation before. I remember it happening in December, the season before last. It must have been. We didn't have a very good November, and we had Spurs and Man City coming up, and I was like, he's going to get the sack. Pochettino, I think, was free at the time, and I think he'd only just left Spurs at the time, actually, Pochettino. So it must have been, it would have been December 2 seasons ago, and we went and beat them both. So, do you think Pogba will play on the left for the next few games, says Rory Saunders? I don't know. I think I get tired of saying it, but I'm sure if I said to you, what's the first thing Solskjaer should... Well, let's do it. Daniel Letterman says, we must stop saying when this person comes back and this combo will work. Ollie does not improve players, but regresses them. Martial and now Sancho, says Daniel. And I know you don't like counter-attack play, Mark, but Rashford is vital to getting those goals again, says Per Eric. Well, look, I think you're right, Per Eric, and it's the question I was going to ask. What's the first thing you would change? If Solskjaer rang you up tonight, it won't be on WhatsApp because it's down, but if he rang you up the old traditional way and said, or text you, what's the one thing you would change? What is the one thing you would change first? I know there's numerous things to change, but what's the first thing you would change? Ollie morally bums me out with the lineup every game, says Joe, and Ollie isn't feared enough by the players, says Kyriakos. The first thing I would change, and a lot of you are saying it, is McFred. And I think that previous comment is so interesting because it's like Rashford's so good on the break and on the counter-attack. And I agree, he is. But I don't think many teams are going to allow us to counter-attack them anymore. I just don't think they are. I think we're being counter-attacked more. I think teams are sitting back. And the ironic thing is, if you look at the Everton game, possession-wise, they were less than 30%. We had 70%, yet we had the same amount of shots. Villa did the same as well. So I think Ollie loves to be a counter-attacking team. We've seen it. But everyone else seems to be doing that to us now. So, look, I suppose the fear would be that he will play the back six with McTominay and Fred in front of the back four. Rashford will come in and be a fundamental part to his hitting teams on the break. Yes, I get that. But I don't think that Ollie can counter-attack anymore because I think teams have wisened up to it. But the first thing I would do is, if Ollie rang me up or text me, and I think if he did it to most people, the first thing I would say is never attach yourself to something that you cannot break away from in 7 seconds if you feel the heat. He's obsessed with McFred. I would say never ever pick McTominay and Fred in the same midfield again. Okay, no, I want it signed. I want it. I will never do it again, and if I do it, I will walk out of Manchester United and never come back. So I never want to see McTominay and Matic play McTominay and Fred, sorry. I've said McTominay and Matic. McTominay and Fred, I would never ever want to see them play. Never see them play again. And if you did that, I think it would be a start. Notice the way I say never pick McTominay or Fred again. I don't mind one of them playing. Like, I actually remember the Europa League semi-final against Sevilla a couple of years ago, and I thought Fred, Pogba and Bruno were fantastic. You know, some people think that McTominay and Pogba worked quite well in the Europa League final a few months ago. I just never want to see Fred and McTominay again together again. I don't know whether you actually saw this, actually. Hi, Mark. Ahmad is the sort of forgotten man. Do you see him getting any minutes before January, and do you think he should? Jay, I think Ahmad's another Donny. I don't think there's a future for him at United, unfortunately. And I think Palestri was the biggest waste of time out of them all. Rashford, Ronaldo, Sancho, in my opinion, up top. Bruno, Pogba and Sancho providing service. What's your thoughts? I like that, NMCC. And Mark, do you believe Maguire is even worthy of playing next to Varane? Are we just selling for grade bullshit like McFred in other positions too quietly? Says Ronaldo's left shoe. I actually like Maguire. I think Maguire and Varane I'm happy with. I don't really rate Lindelof that much, to be honest with you. If Arteta was at United and got the players we've got, do you think he would have managed better than Ollie? Says Aditya. I do actually think that Arteta is a better footballing coach than Ollie. I know that's a bit of a controversial point, but if you look at Arsenal, I don't think Arteta's out of the woods, and I don't think Arteta's a super manager. But I do think the evidence is that Arteta does tend to get the best out of Ollie when they play against us, and that is a bit of a hint that he's probably a better tactical coach. I think Ollie's a good coach, but I think tactically he does leave himself a lot to be desired at times. Ollie may have the locker room because the players like him, but the lack of accountability is obvious. All subordinates love a doormat manager, says Randall. Well, look, I think somebody said this quite well before. I just want to bring this to your attention, but somebody said this before. Ollie's popular with the people who are his favourites. He's not popular with Van der Beek, is he? Because he won't give him any game time. I doubt he's that popular with people like Delo or Bailly or people like that. But the Maguires, the McTominays, the Freds, the Brunos, the Rashfords, the Greenwoods, the people that he pick, they're not going to see a problem with him because they're benefiting from him. They're playing for Manchester United. But look, this is what I wanted to bring in. Premier League defensive dual tiers. These are the people these are the percentages of Premier League defensive duels won. Number 1, Basuma, 78.1%. Kante, 75%. And third place, Rodri, 72%. You then go through Kovacic, Fabinho, Fernandinho, Ruben Neves, Romu, Højbjerg, Allen, Rice, Matic, and Ndidi, Jorginho, down to 59%, which is Jorginho. You've then got Henderson, Ward-Prowse, Moutinho, down to 55%. And then right near the bottom, you've got McTominay on 50% and Fred on 46.9% in defensive duels. Matic is way ahead of them on 60%. Obviously, he's not played as many minutes. But this is fantastic because Basuma is near 80% and McTominay's 50% and Fred is 47% on defensive duels. And the reason I bring this up is that I think so many people with McTominay and Fred talk about how they slow us down, which they do, or their passing's not that good, which it isn't. But there's also almost this myth attached to McTominay and Fred that they're good defensively. Like, I've heard people defend them over the last few weeks and months that, well, look, what they lack in their creativity, they make up with their defensive work. But I don't think they are good defensively. Actually, I think they're probably better passers than they are defensively. They never pick up the runners. They get skinned a lot. And as we saw with Fred at the weekend, he gets bounced off by number 10s. So it's interesting, isn't it? You know, you go back to that, what's the first thing you would change at United? It would be never pick McTominay and Fred together again. And also, why do you pick them together? Their defensive skill set is not very good. Their passing skill set is not very good. Their creativity is not very good. And their speed on the ball is not very good. Why do you pick them? Because I trust them. Well, you know what? I don't understand why, from a footballing point, you pick them. So that to me would be the first thing I'd think. I don't think Potter could manage United. How can players like Ronaldo listen to Potter, underdog, but good at win nothing? Says Aditya. Yeah, I look. I'm with you on that one. I think what Brighton have done with Potter is fantastic. But this same thing happened a few years ago with Eddie Howe. Eddie who? Eddie Howe. Eddie who? Eddie Howe. Eddie who? Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe was doing a good job at Bournemouth. Similar to what Potter's doing at Brighton. Where's Eddie Howe now? Exactly. But some people wanted Eddie Howe as a Man United manager. And I said the same thing. I thought what he's doing is Bournemouth is good. I thought their football was good. But how does Eddie Howe... How does Eddie Howe come to Old Trafford and manage players of the quality that we've got with no experience of managing players at that level? And this would be the same thing with Potter. I'm not saying he couldn't work, but Potter's got no experience of managing people of the quality of a Cristiano Ronaldo, a Rafael Varane, and players. You know, if Zidane walks into the club, people are going to go, bloody hell, it's Zinedine Zidane. Even as a player, it's Zinedine Zidane. But also 3 times Champions League winner with Real Madrid. Mourinho initially did demand respect. I don't think Potter would not demand that. So I wouldn't want Potter at Manchester United over what we've got at the moment. I think his style of football is great, but I think it'd be a huge risk. I think Potter needs to go to an Everton or a Spurs before he starts thinking about a top 4 club. Hi Mark, have had enough of Ollie now. Time's up. Would you take Giggsy as new manager? Ruthless streak and has experience. Okay, Charlie Scott, clever. Mark, what do you think if we play Pogba and Donny? We give up something on defensive side, but would the attack be smoother? He'd never do it, Cardo. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't play Pogba and Donny either because I've not seen enough to know whether that would work. When Ollie first came in, we said we needed 3 years because the squad wasn't good enough. 3 years later, we're still playing the same crap football, just with better players. Why keep Ollie, says Michael. Are we just delaying the inevitable with Ollie? If we're honest and put all our bias and loyalty aside, this isn't getting any better, whether it's now or in a year's time, says Ryan. And I think this is what a lot of Ollie loyalists are waking up to. And I suppose myself, I would put myself in that category as well. I have been very loyal to Ollie. I've been very honest. I've been very, upfront when he's pissed me off. And look, he has done over the last week, certainly. But I think you're right. I think even the most adamant Ollie-inner is starting to have those thoughts that, are we delaying the inevitable now? Is it just obvious that he's not the right man? I still think there's a residing hope, and we may as well still hope because he isn't going to get the sack at the moment, and this next month is key. I fully expect Ollie to come through it. As I say, he's come through it before. The trouble is, if he does come through it, I guarantee there'll be another Villa before Christmas. and then you slip back again. I mean, look, it'd be so like United under Ollie to go and beat Leicester, draw with Liverpool, beat Spurs, and maybe beat City and take 10 points from 12. Where in the next international break we're thinking, oh yeah, we're back, we're going to win it. We come back from the international break, we draw with Watford, we lose to Arsenal, we draw to Chelsea, and we take 2 points from 9. And then it's like, get rid of him again. But that would be United. You have 4 really good games, and then you have 3 bad games, and it knocks you out of a title race again. If Ollie trusts McFred so much, I think they should be in his fantasy team as well, says Aditya. Mark, the fantastic merchant treats every game as a joke, play whoever he feels like on the day and has no intention of getting us any silverware, says Mohammed. And playing McFred is no different to Jose playing favourites that would run through brick walls for him, which cost him his job. Tough games post-international breaks, says Deji. And after watching levels of MCI, Ronaldo, David De Gea and Bruno will be more driven to perform, but Ollie and staffs will get in their way to play conservative football, says Akil. Yeah, look, I think that looking at the game at the weekend, we spoke about why he rested Ronaldo, why he dropped Pogba. My theory on that was that I would never drop Ronaldo. I don't think Ronaldo wanted to be dropped. I would not drop Ronaldo. If Ronaldo had started that game, would we have won it? I don't necessarily think you can say if we start Ronaldo, we win that game, because we've already seen we've started Ronaldo and lost to Villa. So, but I wouldn't have made that change, and I wouldn't have put Pogba on the bench, and I would have started Matic. But Ollie was, they called him the Tinker Man at Cardiff. He used to change his team quite a lot, and then at United he sort of stuck to the same team all last year. So you never know what you're going to get with Ollie. But I do think, and I heard Gary Neville saying this, to be honest, and I do agree, he's got to get an 11. He's got to get an 11 and stick with that 11. And for me, that 11 would be De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, Matic and Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Sancho, Ronaldo. Supplemented by Greenwood playing a lot of games, Cavani, I say playing a lot of games, you can rotate Greenwood a little bit with Sancho or Rashford. Cavani off the bench if you need to use him. I'd like to see Donny getting more time because he can play where Pogba plays. But that would be my core group. And I wouldn't really change it very often. But as we know, he's got Lingard, he's got Martial, he's got McTominay, he's got Fred, he's got Lindelof, and he seems intent on, giving these people games. We don't have any midfield combination to win the Premier League, says Kyrikos. Oh, well, we've all said that. We've all said that for a very long time as well. Hold on, you've just said about managing players. What experience has Ollie got of managing top players, says Scott. Well, look, Scott, when I said that, I knew that. When I said, I wouldn't trust Potter getting this job because he's never managed top players before. I knew when I said it, someone was going to say, well, what about Ollie? He hasn't either. But Ollie's in the job. Ollie's in the job. That decision's been made. Do you want to go and make that decision again? I wouldn't give Potter the job at United. No. Too much of a risk. But you're right, that was the risk we took with Ollie. But we all know why Ollie got the job. I will argue this with anybody. I'll never ever respect anybody who says we shouldn't have given him the job in the first place. Everybody was singing Ollie's at the wheel. I know some of these people who are really adamant Ollie out. And I remember at the time, Ollie's at the wheel, singing about a bloody bus. So we all wanted him to get the job. The only get out that I said at the time was that it's not the Man United's board job to be a fan. The board's job is to run the club effectively. Ed Woodward said when he sacked Jose Mourinho in the December, they were going to take their time, not make any rushed decisions, and they would assess who the manager will be in the summer. What happens? Ollie gets a few good results. Everyone starts singing Ollie's at the wheel, and the Glazers and Ed Woodward go, here's a popularity thing. Here's the contract. What they should have done is waited till the summer, because what happened the minute they gave Solskjaer that contract in March, we plummeted. We finished the season really badly. But the decision had already been made. Now, if they'd have waited till the summer, maybe that form would have continued, or maybe we would have plummeted and gone, right, he's not the right man, let's get the manager in now. But they completely backtracked on what they said they were going to do. So I would agree, I'd blame it on the board, but as fans, we wanted him to get the contract. Ollie's time is up, he's always making the wrong decisions, and Fred could have his worst game ever and he would still play him. Ollie has no leadership, says Gary Finnegan. I think the most interesting thing after the international break is, does he dare pick does he dare pick McFred again? And the answer to that question is surely yes, he does. He's a stubborn man, and I think he'll continue to do it. But if he's got anybody who knows him, who's watching this show, or any other countless tweets out there, bloody stop picking McTominay and Fred. Because if you want to keep your job, mate, the one thing, and it's always number one, is McTominay and Fred in the midfield that pisses the fan base off. If you want to keep your job, the first thing I would do in that Leicester game is play Matic and Pogba. Because it's going to feel like a new beginning anyway, because the international break's here. So when we come back for that Leicester game, people will have renewed hope. If you then galvanise that hope with Matic and Pogba in the midfield instead of McTominay and Fred, people will psychologically go, right, this is it. Let's see what happens now. If we come back from that international break and it's McTominay and Fred, people will go, oh, piss off. He's done it again. He's not learning. He's stubborn. Get him out of my club. And that's what will happen. And I don't know why nobody with a... I don't know why nobody's telling him not to pick them for footballing reasons anyway. But I'm surprised nobody's telling him, look, you know what, Ollie? I've been looking at it. And Pogba won a World Cup with France. Matic has won Premier Leagues. Donny's played in semi-finals in the Champions League. He was a Dutch international. Real Madrid wanted him. I know you like McTominay and Fred, but Donny and Matic and Pogba are actually better than them. And nobody likes you picking McTominay and Fred. Listen to me, I know this sounds a bit out there, but Matic and Pogba are better than McTominay and Fred. And nobody likes McTominay and Fred as a pairing. So if we put Matic and Pogba together, it's a double win. Because not only do we make the fans happy, but they're actually better than them as well. It's a great idea, but he won't do it. So, look, that's what I think he should do, because I think it just gives us maybe a chance of, something happening. But you know as well as I do, he won't do it. And even if he picked Matic and Pogba for the Leicester game, as soon as we play Liverpool at home, it's McTominay and Fred again, because they run around a lot. So, yeah... I suppose the interesting hypothetical that does intrigue me is if you gave that job to Zidane or Conte or Ten Hag or whoever else is the flavour of the month, I'd love to know, and we'll never know because it's hypothetical, I'd love to know what their first Man United team would be. Imagine if they came out and they picked McTominay and Fred, at which case I'd go, what the bloody hell is going on in training? What are they doing in training? If we get a great CDM in the summer, do we think we could finally play a 4-1-3-2? Says Justin Monday. We should have got a CDM in the summer anyway. Mark, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like to see that Southgate take over? Gerard, I absolutely despise Southgate as a coach. Like, a million times more than any doubts I've got about Ollie. Southgate, no. I think he's a terrible coach. Mark, do you think we still finish in top 4 this season? I really doubt, which will also lead in for new manager. Jude, I'm absolutely convinced. I think it's impossible. I say impossible for Manchester United not to finish in the top 4. So, yeah, 100% I think we'll finish in the top 4. I don't think we'll win the title, but I think we'll finish in the top 4. Looking forward to Donny scoring against us and gives Ollie a massive grin, says Boz. Unfortunately, I don't think Donny will be playing in the Premier League. I think he will, if United let him go, he will be let go somewhere else. But look, there was a great question at the start of the video from Joshua Bowwater. Thanks for everyone who's doing the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $ if you want to. Also, I have been doing my FIFA 22 Manchester United career mode. Normally, it happens at about 3 o'clock, but I was busy today. But I am doing one today. It's going to be at about 9:45 tonight, so it's going to be a later FIFA 22 career mode. So if you are about, what else are you going to do? It's an international break. It'll be on my Twitch channel, Goldbridge TV, or just follow me on @MarkGoldbridge on Twitter, and you'll see me tweeting it out. So FIFA 22, Man United career mode. Hopefully, I can play some good football. Unlike in real life. But no, there was a great question from Joshua Bowwater, and it was about what I felt was going to happen at Manchester United over the coming weeks. And I think to do that, the easiest thing for me to do is to probably just look at Manchester United's upcoming fixtures, and we can sort of go through what's to come, because there's so many twists and turns anyway in football. It's very, very hard to predict. But also, he's going to rotate. The football's not great. And, if he doesn't start winning, it's going to be too late. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. But look, we've got Leicester against Leicester away, first game back. I'm not massively worried about Leicester. They're not playing well. Like, they're drawing to teams like Burnley and Palace. Like, they're not, they're not bad, but I don't think Leicester Leicester don't worry me. They don't worry me, and I know they got a result against us last year, but I do think we'll beat Leicester. I do. Then we play Atalanta, which again I would expect us to win, but they are quite good. That's at Old Trafford. Then I think it starts to get real, because then we've got Liverpool, and I think Liverpool at Old Trafford, I don't think they're going to win, but I think it'll be a difficult game for us, and certainly I think we could get exposed in that one. Then we play Tottenham away, which, to be honest with you, we should beat Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham are that good. We should be beating Tottenham, so I'd expect to win that. In which case, you'd have 7 points from your first 9 Premier League points. So, I don't think, you're asking me what I think is going to happen. I think we will beat Atalanta. I think we will beat Leicester. But we'll probably draw with Liverpool and we'll beat Spurs. In which case, that's a good 4 games. Then you go into November. Then we play Atalanta again away from home, and then we play Man City. And maybe that's where we get into this situation again, where we the first few games we do well, and the last 2 before the next international break we end up losing, because that Man United game against City is at Old Trafford again. So look, again, we've got the home advantage like we do against Liverpool. But then after that, you've got Watford away, which I think is a dangerous game for United. That's the sort of game. Watford away is, you can see it's the sort of game we should win, but you can see it's the sort of game we'll bloody lose. Then we've got Villarreal away, which is going to be difficult. Chelsea away after that, and then Arsenal at home. And I think in some ways those 4 games are more difficult than Leicester, Atalanta, Liverpool and Spurs. I think Watford away, Villarreal away, Chelsea away, and then Arsenal at home, that's a difficult run of fixtures. But when you combine it with the 2, it is very difficult for us. Then into December it gets a bit better. You get Palace at home, Young Boys at home, Norwich away, Brentford away, Brighton at home, Newcastle away and Burnley at home. And December on paper looks a lot easier, but he's got to get through October and November. And I think he will. I do. As I said, I think this will be a season thing, which again goes back to what we were talking about at the start of the video. For Ronaldo can't afford a year of, 3rd or fighting for 4th. It's a wasted year for Ronaldo if he's not fighting for a title, he's not scoring many goals, and we're not doing well in the Champions League. He hasn't got time to waste. So ultimately I can see this season being a bit of a write-off, in the sense that I think we'll be comfortably top 4, nowhere near a title, and probably not win a trophy. More of the same, really. Maybe the same as last year. I know we finished 2nd, but we were nowhere near the top, and we were quite close to 3rd. So I think at the moment that's where it's going to go. And I was asked that question, so hence I've answered it. I think October's difficult, November's difficult, December looks good. So I think we're going to have that sort of season where we drop points, we win points, we drop points, we win points, and ultimately we finish 4th probably, but we don't win a trophy. And Ronaldo is like, this has not been the year I thought it was going to be. Of course, I might be completely wrong. We might have a really good October and November. December looks good, so therefore you've had 3 good months. You are still in a title race. We go through the Champions League. Ronaldo starts scoring goals, and everything looks rosy. And I hope that's what's going to happen. The other alternative is we do have a bad October, followed up by an even worse November, and everyone's had enough of volley, and players start to get pissed off, and fans get pissed off, and maybe you do get that change before Christmas. But look, there is nowhere to hide in October and November. There are a tough run of fixtures, which emphasises what I've been saying. The reason October and November are difficult is because August and September weren't. Our first 7 games of the Premier League season are not difficult. Young Boys away was not difficult on paper. Villarreal at home is not difficult on paper for a team like us. We've made hard work of fixtures that we shouldn't have, and now we've left ourselves with 2 months of fixtures that are harder. What if we lose to Leicester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, draw with Tottenham and beat Watford? Then what? Says Raven. I don't know. It wouldn't be very good. We can't expect much. Remember, we gave Sheffield their first win last season, gave Villa their first win at Old Trafford in ages, and gave Moyes his first win, says Miss My Big Melons. And you thought we'd beat Villa and Everton too. Look, I'm not the oracle. I'm asked a question about what I think is going to happen, and I think that it will be a yo-yo season, up and down. It could be just up. It could be just down. What do I want? Up. Yazoo. Yaz. Only way is up. That's what I want. I think we've got the players to do it. But I suppose the thing I've always said on this channel for years and years and years is I'd rather we were playing Liverpool next than playing Norwich. Because if we had Norwich at home, I know we're going to win that. We might play crap, but we'll win it. But if we play Liverpool, I know we're going to get a test. And if we win that, then at least it shows some progression. I want the tests. I'm looking forward to October and November. I'm not worried or scared about it. I'm looking forward to it because there's nowhere. Atalanta's a difficult game. You know, it is. Atalanta home and away before the next international break. Villarreal before, you know, as soon as we come back. These are difficult games. You know, the Champions League games are difficult. The Premier League games are difficult. Bring it on. Bring it on, you know. Hi Mark, if Pogba, Donny and Matic went to play with their countries and played in defence, what would you think? But this is what happens to McTominay, says Austin. Look, to be honest, in relation to Fred, I think he's having probably the worst period of his career at United. I think he's been dreadful this season. In relation to McTominay, he was injured for a while. He's just played 3 games in a week, which I thought was ridiculous for a player who's been out for a month. I do think McTominay is a valuable member of the squad. I'd love him to be on the bench. I think that's exactly where he should be. When I look at McTominay, I think this is a player that should be coming on for the last 20 minutes. And that's all I ever think. It stuns me that Ollie thinks it's his Roy Keane. Like, he's just not better than Matic. He's not better than Pogba. I'd argue he's probably not better than Donny, but we don't bloody see enough of Donny for me to really say that. But he's not better than Matic, he's not better than Pogba, and therefore he should be on the bench. But Ollie loves him and Fred, and it will be his downgrade. Basuma, bloody hell, what a player Basuma is, and it's backed up with the fact that he's an absolute monster in the tackle. He's perfect for what we need, but for whatever reason, Tommy and Fred, we don't look at those players. Look, anyway, I've really enjoyed the show tonight. With all due respect, it's really weird how you are afraid of saying Ollie out when literally 90% of the fan base is saying so, says Liz Skip. With all due respect, it's not my fault if you haven't got the brain capacity to listen to shows and understand what I'm saying, and 99% of our fan base is not Ollie out. Total respect for anybody who's Ollie in. I've got total respect for anybody who's Ollie out. As I said, for me, it's not about division. I think the Ollie out crowd want to try and create some sort of, division because they think it will force Ollie out. That's up to them. But for me, it's about we all want the same thing. We all want Manchester United back where they should be. And I'm not happy with the way that we're playing. I'm not happy with the team selections. But I'm also aware that we're not out of the Champions League and we're not out of the title race yet. And whilst I don't think we will win the title, and whilst I think there are big cracks, and we're papering over those cracks, I am not in a position where I want to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out at the moment. But rest assured, because I've done it and the videos are there, I've jumped early. I was like 5 months early with Van Gaal, and I kept it going for 5 months. So I'm not scared of doing it. People think, oh, he won't do it because he's trying to play both sides. I couldn't give a shit about playing both sides. I don't play both sides when I say McTominay and Fred are crap, and I've said it for a long time. So I'm not bothered about having my opinion, but I will not be coached into saying something that I don't actually feel at the moment. However, the whole point about talking about those games in October and November is there is nowhere to hide. It is make or break. And to be honest with you, what happened with Mourinho? Mourinho was here 3 years ago, and it was this situation, and effectively the results started becoming more bad than good consistently. We dropped out of a title race, and people were like, players started to turn, and it was time to go. So look, who knows what's going to happen? But what I would acknowledge is we are in trouble. We're definitely in trouble at the moment. On the bright side, hey, it's just 7 games in and our options are open. Forget the previous game outcome and just win. It's just winning mentality, says GJ. And Ollie's not just stubborn this season. He seems arrogant. Dangerous combo. Not only will he persist with current midfielders, but thinks it's the right pair, says Names. Yeah, he does have an irritating vibe to him at the moment, and he needs to wake up and smell the coffee, because if you ignore the fans, you'll lose the fans. And Sir Alex Ferguson always said that. But Ollie seems to think that he doesn't need the fans at the moment, that he can win the fans back on his own stubbornness, which is a dangerous game to play. Anyway, thanks very much to Manscaped. Links in the video description. 20% off and free ship worldwide shipping. You can get this lot. Really good products. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Links in the video description for that. Also, I'm going to be on FIFA Career Mode in about 45 minutes on Goldbridge TV on Twitch. Really looking forward to that. But tonight, FIFA Career Mode. I'm doing well. I'm obviously doing better than Ollie, even though I've lost some games, because I'm just better on FIFA anyway. We'll have a bit of fun on that a little bit later. Obviously, tomorrow morning we're back at 10 o'clock. Some really good content today. The Fabrizio Romano interview was really, really good as well. Check out the content. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. I'll see you on career mode if you're going to join me in about 45 minutes. If not, I'll see you in the morning. Lots of good content to come for you over the week. Lots of big discussions. And I appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. As ever, take care. I'll speak to you in a bit.